excited to have her. Tina is a frequent speaker at leadership and training events across the nation. She develops innovative leadership workshops on strategic thinking, political savvy, leadership development, behavioral interviewing, and resiliency. Tina holds motivational seminars to stimulate her audience to realize the greatness in themselves and in others, recognizing in every interaction the importance of positive relationships, being present in the moment, and the countless opportunities to make a difference. She applies personal experiences to help others identify and realize their full potential. Tina's long-term purpose as a mother, sister, daughter, friend, and leader is to instill in each person she meets a sense of value, confidence in their abilities, ownership in their actions, and a desire for continuous improvement, both personally and professionally. Please welcome Tina Smith.
Okay. Chris is right. I am so thrilled and excited to be here today. When she called me back in February and asked me if I was available and interested, I don't think I could have said yes any quicker than what I did. I'll tell you, it's been a journey getting here. A journey that started out in Ottumwa, Iowa, a small city in the southeast corner of the state. And then I took a little detour and went through Sigourney, Iowa, an even smaller city in the southeast corner of the state. And I am thankful that Chris asked me to start talking at 3 o'clock because I made it here just in time. Now, as you may have guessed already, my journey didn't just start this morning. It started over 40 years ago. And in those 40 plus years, it has been a combination of all of the experiences and the relationships throughout that journey. Events that shaped my life and created the person that you see standing in front of you today. Life is a journey of growing and refining who we are. I want to start off with a quote because I love quotes. John Shar said, "The future is not some place we are going to, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found but made, and the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination." Life's journey is about who I am. Life's journey is about who we are, the women and the individuals that we become, preparing ourselves for our journey. You know, no matter how long or short the journey is, or even the slope of the grade of the slope, it is reached just one step at a time. Now, it's also about taking time along the path to listen and to listen with our hearts and to recognize all of these moments, all of these relationships, all of these steps within our journey are creating impressed moments. Impressed moments of love, joy, faith, and hope. Now, someone told me once the reason why we are here is to experience challenges, and I was devastated. I was so sad, especially at a time that I was going through a significant challenge. But then I realized our strength comes from our struggle. The struggles that we experience along our journey and every step of the path along the way, those struggles are what helps us acknowledge, value, and appreciate the beauty of life. With all of these struggles, it helps us through our journey. It helps us to learn and appreciate the value and the beauty of life. It is with all of these moments and experiences that help us understand that it is about the experience of grief, but to also know what it feels to love and to be loved. It is a struggle of sadness, but to also feel the excitement and the joy of happiness. It is learning to overcome fear with faith, and it's about feeling the pain of disappointment and yet embracing hope within our hearts. With all of these struggles, life becomes more than just surviving. Life becomes more about learning and living. Our struggles and our adversity are the hardest things to endure. And yet they are also the things that teach us about ourselves. And they remind us that we can do more than we think we can. We can do hard things. Now, as I started out the day with a quote, I'll be honest and I look at Pinterest a lot to find those good quotes that help lift me up when I need it. Now, I've read a lot of good quotes, but a lot of them are focusing only on the future. Can't change the past, focus on the future. Don't ruin the present by living in the past, or start a new chapter. Now, some of you may love and live by those quotes, and there is something to say about not dwelling on the past. Facing forward is important, but it's also taking time to appreciate how far we've come. One of my favorite books is I Love You, Ronnie, and it is a book filled with the love letters that Ronald Reagan wrote his wife, Nancy. It was Christmas 1980, and it was one last celebration in their home in California before they moved to Washington. This was a home that they raised their family and they built their lives. Christmas 1980, Ronnie toasted. This toast is for all of us. Not for what we're about to become, but for what we've been to each other for so many years. That toast is a reminder for us to consider the positive relationships in our life. Those moments where relationships help strengthen me, or that I help those around me strengthen theirs. It's in those moments that I was growing and refining who I was becoming. Now, for all of you that know me, know that I say strong, positive relationships are a healthy way to live life. And to be honest, I think that we cheat ourselves of some unknown relationships and unknown experiences when we're not open to experiencing those moments. I believe people step into our life and cross our path for a reason. They become a part of our journey. Now, whether it is known or unknown, whether it's for the receiver or the giver, it can even be in the simplest gestures of kindness. Kind of like my son teases me about, and he says, "Mom, do you have to be nice and start a conversation with everyone you meet at the McDonald's drive-thru window?" This room is filled with different journeys, but there will be similarities in our stories, similarities in the events, and similarities in the emotions, preparing us, developing us, growing and refining who we are. As mothers and daughters, sisters and friends, part of our journey is to lift others up, to listen to the footprints of others, to show sympathy or to share in their emotions, listening to footprints and steps in the path where weakness is replaced with strength, learning lessons of resiliency and compassion, hearing steps towards finding inner peace, finding inner hope, and listening. Now, my son and I were on a return flight from seeing some family in Iowa, some awesome family in Iowa. We didn't have seat assignments next to each other, and I could say it was my intent to help him uncover an unknown relationship, but that would simply be a lie. I was saving my airfare money for those McDonald's drive-thru relationships, as you can see here. Now, as it turned out, I was the one who was privileged to uncover a new friendship. Sitting next to me was someone that I would soon learn had fallen over 60 feet in a mountain climbing accident 40 years ago. Within the last 14 years, with no chance of walking either. That's a big key issue there. Proving the doctors wrong, because she did learn to walk again. And then within the last 14 years, she had to get one of her legs amputated as a result of that injury 40 years previously. Now, as it turned out, she's also someone that speaks in front of Congress for veterans' rights to receive good prosthetic equipment. Talk about a journey. Talk about a life. Talk about all of the steps along her path, making her the person that she is today. Now, among other stories of her husband, 2 daughters, and her mother, my new friend, Nancy, or Hedge, as her friends like to call her, she shared with me a story about her daughter, Robin, who was a 5th grade teacher during the events of 9/11. Now, many of her students had parents that had passed in those tragic events, and in some instances, both parents dying in those tragic events. Now, my heart really ached as I heard the story. I ached and my heart hurt for what those children must have gone through. I hurt and ached for what Robin, this 5th grade teacher, how she must have felt with students in her class that no longer had parents. How do you even begin to help in that situation? Where do you even start? It was the advice that Hedge gave her daughter Robin and said, you don't need to have all the answers. Sometimes it's just listening. Just listen to your students. Now, I was thinking about Hedge the next day because we both shared that we generally never, ever talk to the person sitting next to us on the flight. I'm the first one to plug in. But I believe that Hedge crossed my flight path, my journey, for a reason. Now, as you may know, standing in front of you, I love speaking. I have a goal to one day write a book, so how amazing for me to find out that Hedge is a motivational speaker. She is a goal coach, and she's an experienced senior editor. People cross our paths for a reason. There's also the parts of her steps along her journey of resilience, strength, and courage. And it's recognizing moments along the path where we will not have all the answers. And in those moments, we rest and we listen. A good friend reminded me recently not to be overwhelmed by the whole journey, just the next right move, focusing only on the next step. Now, in 2000, my mom had brain surgery, and the brain surgery was to help remove a portion of her hippocampus. This is the portion of the brain involved in the formation of new memories and also associated with learning and emotions. Now, unfortunately, she also suffered a stroke during that surgery. My mom and dad start each day at the top of their stairs. And my mom shares today's date because how well she does that is an indicator on how well the day will be. And then she recites, putting one foot in front of the other, always facing forward. And then she glides down her stairs. After 47 years of marriage, this is the beginning of their daily journey together, along with kissing, some clucking noises that I think sounds like this, and an exchange of I love yous. My mom loves getting out of the house, so 2 to 3 days a week, my dad and she enjoy a roundabout. And now 2 to 3 days a week depending on the weather. Now this roundabout is what you call a drive that takes around about 2 hours. Now, I've experienced some of these drives lately, and I believe some of them last 4. But during this time, they build new memories, and they share experiences, and they build new relationships. It's part of their journey. Relationships even at the local eateries that they visit regularly. There was one such place, the Chinese buffet, and I arrived there shortly before they did. But when they joined me at the table, out of the corner of my eye, I see a waitress sprinting in our direction. And she wasn't even assigned to our table. She was just coming straight for us. When she reached my mom in her wheelchair, she greeted her with a loving smile and a warm hug. Now my dad looked at me and he winked and he mouthed the words, "I'm a good tipper." I think there is more to it than that. It's a journey of living. It's a journey of being present in the moment and opportunities for special, unspoken relationships. How we love ourselves and how we love each other matters. It's about listening and seeing with our hearts. Now, there were moments along my own personal journey where I asked for guidance, I embraced hope, and I looked for strength. And then one day the word slipped out before I knew what was happening, and I shared with my friends I was thankful for my experiences. Now trust me, those experiences were not my last journey to the shopping mall. And they will probably remind me next time I'm telling them I'm having some challenging experiences that one day I'll appreciate these in my life. In those few simple seconds where I shared I was thankful for my experiences, it was being thankful for a life, to live and to love and to learn. Now, I don't seek out adversity, and I'm not looking for opportunities to practice my resiliency skills. And there are things I wouldn't want to experience again. But this journey teaches us it's the combination of all of the steps along the path towards growing and refining who I am, growing and refining who we are. And it may not be easy, and we know it's not easy. But it's like every journey. It only takes one step at a time. And like I am reminded, only one moment at a time. So today at Mommy's Day Out, this moment right here is about taking time for yourself. This room is filled with courageous, kind, and beautiful women who are worthy of love and worthy to be loved. So love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Now, I know many of us will be questioning if we are doing enough for our family, if we are doing enough for our children, if we are doing enough at our job, if we are giving enough. So take time to do something for yourself, because all of us neglect to ask the question, have I done enough for me? Have I taken time for me today? Your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being is part of your journey, and it is just as critical as all the other steps along the path. So take time to do something that you enjoy. Do something for yourself. Spend time with friends, meditation, prayer, exercise, even if I know exercise. Let's just go back to spending time with friends. That's my favorite one. But whatever it is that you choose to do that makes you happy, do it for yourself. Take time for that. It's kind of like the 30-minute car ride with my son just recently. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and this slushy rain was hitting the windshield with increasing force. The longer it rained, the slushier that rain got. And I was mesmerized by those windshield wiper blades going back and forth, with a lot on my mind, certainly. And I think he got to the point where he noticed I was transfixed to that windshield, and he said, Mom, about my wiper blades, I know that they're broken, and I really should get them fixed. I said, yeah. He said, the longer it rains, the worse it gets. No kidding, right? I don't think I broke out in hysterical laughter, but I was like, really? Yeah. But what it made me also realize watching those windshield wiper blades go back and forth is how much harder they had to work to be resilient. It's about having the right tools and having strength in those tools to help us along those paths so that we have strength and hope for brighter days and that we can weather the storms along our journey. What a powerful message. Live your journey because you are valuable. Don't live your journey, but live intentionally and not just a life you endure, because you can do hard things. You can do more than you think you can. And keep in mind that sometimes those storms are meant to clear our path. Our journey is filled with steps. One weekend I found myself in Morgan at the base of the mountain with the M on the side. That was a hike I'd been wanting to do for weeks. And standing at the bottom of that mountain that day, that M looked so far away. This slope in front of me was so steep. And then as I looked up closer to where the M was, the slope was even steeper up there than it was standing in front of me. But I knew I needed to reach the M that day because the journey represented a part of my own personal journey. Now during the climb, I Snapchatted my cousin Drew, so he could see my progress along this mountain. It was impeccable timing when I was out of breath, the perfect time to send him a little Snapchat too. Now there are 3 benches along the hike to that path, and trust me, I rested all along the way. Up to that first bench, I rested at the bench, but I rested at a lot of other steps past along the way too. But it was at the second bench that I laid down and I looked up at the sky. And I was feeling very stormy inside, but the skies above me were so incredibly blue. Now, as I continued, it was during the steepest part of my climb that my parents called me. And that storm I was feeling on the inside started raining on the outside. They asked me why I was climbing the mountain that day, and I said, I think I'm trying to get closer to God. I thought that might help. As we talked, I continued to share my determination with them. It was raining on the outside, but I had determination to make it to the top of that mountain. And I kept repeating, I will climb this mountain, one step at a time. I will climb this mountain, one step at a time. Now, as we talked, I was mindful of my steps. I was mindful of the path. But when I looked up, the M was right in front of me. And I was stunned. I was shocked. I actually had to look behind me and make sure that I had actually just walked that path. I realized I reached the M with determination and strength, and I was not even out of breath on the steepest part of the climb. I said, Dad, I made it. The M was my goal, but I was feeling so incredible at that time that I knew that I could walk a little bit further. I knew I could climb to the very top of that mountain. And when I did, I had a musical moment with Beyonce, and I did a little twirling around, a little fist pumping, a little dancing. And then I stopped and paused and I looked out across the valley. I looked at the mountains, I looked at the sky above, and I saw the beauty and the value of life and the world around us. I saw people in their cars and their trucks driving on the road. I knew people were at home, people at work, and I knew everyone was living their journey while I was living mine. Now, I looked at where I started when the M looked so far away, but I was at the top of the mountain now. I was at the top. I looked back and reflected upon all those steps that had brought me here. I remembered those first few steps were muddy. They were so muddy. My shoes were heavy, and I almost wanted to quit. I didn't think I could take that one more step. But then I stopped, I stepped out of the mud, and I cleaned off my shoes, and I kept going. I kept going to the very top. It was taking only one step at a time, inhaling courage and exhaling fear. It was taking time to rest along the way, looking up and listening. But now I was standing on the top of the mountain, and I had all of these emotions inside of me. I had all of these thoughts going on in my head, and I didn't want to miss a minute of it. So without even thinking, I pulled out my phone, I turned on my voice recorder, and I was talking about a bunch of stuff. Now, it wasn't until later in the evening before I even had a chance, or maybe even the strength, the courage to listen to that message that was left. It was 6 minutes long. And of those 6 minutes, what I heard, a part of what I heard was this. I am strong. I am courageous. I am brave. And I can do hard things. One step at a time. One moment at a time. And then there's a pause in the recording, and this voice with incredible enthusiasm and excitement and passion and strength, a voice that was my own. I left myself a message. I said, I didn't even know I left myself a message. So Tina, when you start to struggle, remember this: you are strong. Look at who you are and look at where you are and look at where you've come. You are loved by many, including your Heavenly Father. And you can do hard things, Tina K. You can do hard things. I love you. At that moment, I realized I was never alone on that mountain. I also found a really pretty good cheerleader inside of here. I encourage each of you to record your voice during those moments that you experience that exhilaration of accomplishing something amazing or completing that hard step in your journey, because you will be, I promise you, you will be amazed at the strength and confidence that you have inside. It will be a reminder that not all steps are difficult, but it's also a reminder that you can do hard things. Our journey is filled with steps, preparing us for today and preparing us for tomorrow, growing and refining who we are and who we are meant to become. There will be moments along the way that will be difficult, even muddy sometimes, but there will also be moments that we play, we skip, and sometimes we even dance. Building memories with loved ones, friends, and family, enjoying new relationships, living intentionally. It is about seeing brighter days ahead, and it is about letting the sunshine in your soul light your way. It is your journey. It is a path that you are creating, just one step at a time. So whether you have faith or believe in God, believe this: you are never alone, and you are loved. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tina. That's amazing. Isn't she great? I just love her. I've known Tina for a lot of years. So I just have to tell you a quick story too. When I was starting to plan this and trying to think kind of some things I wanted to do, I was like, I wanted a speaker, but I couldn't think of who. And I talked to several people and I'm just like, it doesn't seem right. I want somebody great and it's not going to, I don't know, that will say the right things. And so I was asleep. I'm almost asleep, and I thought, and it just popped into my brain, Tina, she's perfect, Tina Smith. And it was like 1:30 in the morning. I wanted to just hurry message her, but I didn't. I waited till the next morning, and she said, she was just quick to say, yeah, I'll do it. And she's been excited ever since. She's telling me how excited, so she was fabulous. Now I know why I was inspired to have her come, so thank you so much. And we'll have our next speaker at 4 o'clock, so.